Have you ever wondered, how did everything begin? Picture this: our Earth, the Sun, the stars, and even the galaxies far, far away. It's quite a mind-boggling thought, isn't it? But what if I told you that everything, yes, everything you see in the night sky, and even things you can't see, all started from a single point? From one monumental event we call the Big Bang. Intriguing, right? Now you might ask, what is this Big Bang? Well, the Big Bang is not an explosion as you might think. Imagine everything, yes, absolutely everything, packed into a teeny tiny dot, so small you couldn't see it even if you squinted. This dot was incredibly hot and incredibly dense, like the world's most cramped, sizzling dance floor. This was the universe around 13.8 billion years ago. Can you believe it? All the stars, galaxies, and even every grain of sand on your favorite beach, all squeezed into that almost infinitely small dot. Now, I know what you're thinking. How did this tiny dot become the vast, sprawling universe we know today? Well, something extraordinary happened. For reasons we still don't fully understand, this little dot started to expand, and not just a little bit, but rapidly. This process is what scientists call inflation. Imagine you're blowing up a balloon. As you blow air into it, the balloon expands, right? The surface of the balloon represents our universe, and as you blow into it, the balloon or our universe expands. But unlike a balloon, our universe didn't stop inflating. It kept on growing and growing, faster and faster, and it's still expanding even today. As the universe expanded, it also began to cool down. This cooling allowed particles to form, which eventually led to the creation of atoms. These atoms grouped together to form stars and galaxies. And over billions of years, these stars and galaxies formed the cosmic web of the universe that we see today. So that's the Big Bang theory simplified. From a hot, dense point almost infinitely small, the universe began to expand and cool, creating everything we see around us. It's like the ultimate magic trick, isn't it? And from this tiny, hot, and dense point, our vast universe was born. So, what happened after the Big Bang? Let's imagine this incredible event as the starting point of our story. The universe was born, but it was very different from what we know today. It was extremely hot and dense, almost like the world's biggest, brightest, and most intense fireball. As time ticked away, the universe started to expand, like a balloon being filled with air. And as it expanded, it cooled down. Now this is where things get really interesting. As the universe cooled, tiny particles started to form. These particles are known as quarks and leptons. Eventually, these quarks and leptons came together to form atoms, the building blocks of everything we see around us. The first atom to be formed was hydrogen, the simplest and lightest of all elements. Now these hydrogen atoms didn't stay alone for long. They started coming together, forming clouds that continued to grow larger and larger. And within these clouds, stars were born, lighting up the universe for the very first time. But the story doesn't stop there. Groups of stars came together to form galaxies, and galaxies grouped together to form clusters. This process continued, and the universe kept expanding and evolving, creating the complex cosmic web that we see today. And guess what? The universe is still expanding. Yes, even as we speak, the universe is growing, evolving, and changing. That's how, over billions of years, the universe evolved into the way we see it today. So, to sum up, how did the universe begin? Well, it all started with the Big Bang, a powerful burst of energy that marked the birth of our universe. In that very first moment, everything was incredibly small, hot, and dense, but it didn't stay that way for long. In a split second, our universe expanded faster than the blink of an eye, in a phase we call the initial inflation. As it expanded, it cooled down, and the particles within it began to change. They combined and formed atoms, the building blocks of all matter. Time passed, and these atoms grouped together to form stars and galaxies. Those stars and galaxies are what we see when we look up at the night sky. They make up the vast, beautiful cosmos that we call home. That's the story of our universe, starting from a tiny hot point to the vast cosmos we see today. Isn't it fascinating?